The 10mm pistol is one of the most iconic weapons in the history of Fallout, and one of my favorite guns in the game. So when I seen it featured in the new TV series, I knew I had to make my own and add it to my sci-fi weapon arsenal. And this is how I got it done. So the first thing I had to do was find some files for this project, and I thought this Maker Lab STL over on Colts was perfect. Then once I downloaded the files, I went ahead and loaded them up in my slicer, added supports, hollowed them out, and then got them ready to start printing. And then since I wanted these parts to look absolutely amazing, I went ahead and used resin and printed them off of my Jupiter SE and my Saturn III Ultra, and then went ahead and used a wash and cure station to finish up the prints. And these prints from my Jupiter SE turned out absolutely amazing. And one of the benefits of printing with resin is way less post-processing work, aka sanding. However, working with resin is way messier, so always make sure to wear proper PPE. And then once everything was printed, it was time to start sanding, which is unavoidable in the longest part of this whole process. But since I'm working with resin, it's actually not that bad. There's way less layer lines, so I only need to do a rough pass on these and then some finer detail work with the mouse sander, and then they're all just pretty much done. And if you're looking for a resin printer, be sure to check out Elegoo, because I think they make some of the best there are out there. And they have actually partnered up with me for all of my Fallout print. And I have a lot more Fallout projects in the works. So if you want to support the channel, be sure to check out the link in the description. Now after this first pass of sanding, it's time to hit it with the good old 2-in-1 sandable primer. That way I can take a look at how these look, see if there's any layer lines, and then get back to another round of sanding. And then once again, since these are made out of resin, it looked pretty good after the first layer of primer, so I just went back, did some touch-up work, made sure that everything was smooth, clean, ready to go, because after this round of sanding, it's straight on to another round of primer. And when you're using primer, be sure to avoid parts that you're going to have to glue later on, because you might have a problem of using too much primer and they might not fit together down the line. And then I wanted to make sure that this didn't look like a toy, so I decided to use a hammered cast iron looking paint, which kind of defeated the purpose of doing so much sanding, but I thought it would just make the gun look a little more realistic. So I hit all of the main parts that are supposed to be metal with this color, and it just gives it a really nice texture, especially when I want to go back and use an oil wash to weather this. It will go, the paint wash will go nicely into the creases, especially around the screws and everything in the print, and make the details really pop. And then for the hammer, I used a gloss brown, and then down the line I'll go back and do some more detail work to make this look like it's a wooden handle, because every 10mm I've seen always has a wood handle. And now finally on to the good part. After everything's painted, it's time to put it together. I went ahead and used some glue, glued the main body to the handle first, made sure that this set, and then I'm actually going to go back later and put some screws into this to hold it together. And then I went ahead and added the trigger. I painted these a silver metallic color to give it some type of contrast from the rest of the gun, along with the trigger guard, which I finally used screws to hold into place. That way it's nice and sturdy. And then after all of the hard work, it's finally done, and if you ask me, I think it turned out absolutely amazing. This is one of the few projects I've done where I can't see a single layer line or flaw. I went ahead and used some magnets in the magazine as well as the hammer. That way I can take them apart, they'll hold in place, and down the line I can add some upgrades. But that's it for the day. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button, and if you want to see me make something from the Fallout series, let me know in the comments. And until next time, I'll catch you later.